Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a big question on our hands. Who's more powerful, Dormammu or Thanos? It's hard to believe that any figure in the MCU could have been more powerful than Thanos. You know, he's known as the Mad Titan, the power-mad villain, who proved to be such a monumental threat that it took nearly all of Earth's heroes united together to be able to stop him in one epic battle at the end of Endgame. And even then, they only narrowly managed it. But what if I told you there was another being in the MCU every bit as powerful as Thanos? And in fact, he was already the antagonist of a major Marvel movie. Well, my introductory sentence probably gave it away because his name was Dormammu. And many audiences may only remember that he's the kind of weird giant purpley villain from the end of Doctor Strange. While Mads Mikkelsen's Caecilius provided most of the antagonism in that movie, he was actually just a servant of Dormammu. And Dormammu's goal was, again, to bring the Dark Dimension, of which he was the Dark Lord, to Earth. Doctor Strange himself only stopped the Dread Dormammu with the trickery of his Time Stone, trapping him into some sort of a time loop which Dormammu couldn't escape. But what would have happened if Dormammu and Thanos faced off? Clearly, Thanos, armed with the Infinity Stones, would have made child's play of Dormammu, as it only took one stone to be able to defeat the Dark Lord in the original Doctor Strange movie. Remember, Stephen Strange just had a time stone inside the Eye of Agamotto, and that's what he used to defeat Dormammu. So discussing Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet versus the Dark Lord doesn't really make sense. But without the Infinity Gauntlet itself, there would be a pretty different story. Much of Thanos' threat came from his cunning and his wealth of resources, but Dormammu oversaw an entire dimension, you basically say an entire universe of power, and he could imbue his followers with that forbidden dark magic that made him even stronger. Known as the Mindless Ones, his true followers are legitimate threats all on their own in the comics. And in the battles of Infinity War and Endgame, Thanos' army proved just how disposable their individual numbers are. So I think this edge kind of goes to Dormammu here. But the real bottom line is that all of Thanos' immediate power is physical. Sure, he can trade punches, he can go ahead and go toe-to-toe with the Hulk and even knock him out pretty easily, but Dormammu is a non-physical entity that can't be overpowered with raw force. He killed Doctor Strange 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways, summoning death from every direction. He would probably do the same to Thanos no problem if the two ever squared off in the MCU. In the comics now, it would be a completely different story. There, Thanos commands a vast potential to shape and control energy, meaning that he is not purely a physical, punchy threat. Although Dormammu is similarly powerful in the comics, he has never represented a threat near as major as Thanos. And although Dormammu frequently threatens to control a dimension beyond his own, the threat that Thanos often presents is one that could spill out into the entire multiverse, as he threatens the cosmic balances itself. Of course, there's something to be said for surviving, and it can be said that since MCU's Dormammu is still around to threaten Earth once more, meanwhile the Thanos of the MCU likely won't be threatening anybody anytime soon. Not only is the MCU's Dormammu potentially a more cunning villain, it seems he is even more powerful than